Hey guys, what's up? It's the Pajama Pants Player, the best in the world. It's John Grande, live in 11 color, here with you on this beautiful Monday evening. How are we? Are we doing Gucci? Are we 1 week away from Halloween? I'm super stoked about it. If you can't tell by my attire, I'm sporting the I Spit on Your Grave United Kingdom Rabbit in Red tee that I got. I got it in the mail about a month or so ago, and I've really worn it so much. It's probably like my favorite shirt because it's just so... I love the gritty, grimy kind of feel because it really goes with that specific movie in particular. And I actually watched it last night. I really do dig I Spit on Your Grave. And also, I'm sporting the Evil Dead t-shirt, the original Evil Dead, or not t-shirt, I guess sweat jacket. And it's got Evil Dead on the sleeves, and there's a design on the back. I don't know how much of this you'll be able to see. I'll tippy-toe for you. But really cool design on the back. I actually got this from like a heavy metal t-shirt site / I guess zebra to hoodies. And it was only $40, and I was like, man, I gotta freaking grab that. And so snagged it, $40, came in the mail 2 days later, and I've really been like attached to it since. So it's really nice, and I've gotten nothing but compliments in the few days that I've had it. But this brings me to today's topic. Is it more Halloween horror picks? Am I going to recommend more stuff for you? To be honest, no. I could, but I don't want to make it a series of videos. I'd actually rather get back to my top 20 horror films of all time list, and I've got an interesting number 7 pick / picks, and you're probably scratching your head right now. You're probably wondering, did he pick 2 movies for one spot? And the answer is yes. And it's not Halloween 1 and Halloween 2. A lot of my friends were asking me, you know, it's probably Halloween 1 and Halloween 2 if you're going to pick 2 for one spot. And to be honest, it's not. But these 2 movies, to me, are the greatest horror comedies of all time. Gun to my head, I really would pick these ones. Not because they're not slapstick like Evil Dead 2. They're not in-your-face gore. It's not over-the-top violence. That's what most people, I feel like, would associate, you know, good horror comedy with, like movies like Dead Alive, you know, The Evil Dead 2, of course. And while those movies are really good, and I love them, and they're fun, and they're almost, I think there's the term splatstick, you know, kind of humor and comedy and horror, I do love those movies, but I have to go with these 2 as the best, as the number 7 choice on my top 20 horror movie list of all time. And without further ado, it is Sleepaway Camp 2, Unhappy Campers, and Sleepaway Camp 3, Teenage Wasteland. Now, these are the Shout Factory releases, of course, and I absolutely, the first things first, the cover art on these. I mean, how classic is that? I mean, the girl who's not in the movie with the Jason mask, the Freddy glove, the backpack. When you go camping, just take the essentials. The cool, cheesy tagline. I just love this, and I know it's the Holy Grail posters. I cannot find it anywhere. And it's just, I know the original one sheet goes for like, you'd have to mortgage your house to get it. And I always loved that. And this one is great too. I mean, it's just so simple. She's back to slash last year's record, and with the yellow text and the boobs and the fucking knife and the cheesy face screaming. I mean, I just love the cover art to these 2 movies. And they always really stuck with me as a kid when I saw them in video stores. You know, I would always be like, oh my god, I really want to watch those 2 movies because they just look so goddamn crazy. And I'll be honest, I'm really not that big of a fan of the original Sleepaway Camp cover art, or the original Sleepaway Camp film, to really be honest. But let me tell you guys why I've broken my rule of, you know, using 2 movies from the same franchise. To be honest, I see these, like I said, I see these 2 movies as one. I really don't differentiate them all that much. I mean, you have the same director for both, the same writer for both, and the same lead killer actress, Pamela Springsteen, who, in my opinion, is the greatest slasher of all time. Like, I put her ahead Freddy, I put her ahead of Jason, I put her ahead of Michael. Yes, I love Pamela Springsteen as Angela Baker. And you're probably all, I feel like so many people are like, 1, how is this on his top 10? 2, how is Angela his favorite killer? 3, how is this on his top 10? Probably people are like going nuts. And to be honest, I think the humor in them is so smart, and it's so ahead of its time, and it was really, I think it went over people's heads when it came out. I mean, in Sleepaway Camp Part 2, you have all the actors in the, you know, characters in the movie, all of them are named after members of the Brat Pack. You have, you know, Judd, Emilio, Molly, all the people in the Breakfast Club, basically. And then with Part 3, you have everybody's named after people from the Brady Bunch. Marcia, Alice, you know, Jan. I mean, all these characters are, you know, have the same names as those two, you know, the show and the Brat Pack. And I just always thought that that was really smart. And what Michael Simpson was able to do was, he didn't have the budget to really make it gory, over-the-top, splat-stick kind of fun like I was talking about. He really used a lot of the dialogue and the character development of Angela Baker, played by Pamela Springsteen, who absolutely hits it out of the damn park. And the reason I think she's so good is because she's moral. She's a moral killer. If you drink, if you have sex, if you do drugs, if you say, you know, if you curse, if you do anything that's not morally right in her eyes, she's going to kill you. And she uses, and she has different ways of killing you. Like in part 2, the drill kill, you know, the chainsaw kill where she dresses up like Leatherface and attacks the guys dressed up as Freddy and Jason. One of my favorite kills of all time in a horror movie, the outhouse of shit scene where she drowns that bitch, preppy bitch, played by Val Hartman, in the leeches and shit, and she pretty much drowns her. She pushes her down with a stick into that outhouse. I mean, some of the most brutal kills for a movie that really didn't have that many effects. And when she burns the twins alive on that grill, I mean, and say no to drugs, and she drops the match on them, watches them burn, you know. Just really love the kills in these movies. And even in this one, the girl, the flagpole death, she pulls her all the way up after she states that she's a cheerleader, and she states that she smokes and does drugs and has sex, and she goes strike 3, and she pretty much like ties her up and pulls her all the way up to the very peak of this goddamn flagpole and just lets her drop, and you just see like disgustingness, and it's just great, and like so many just great kills. And I know I'm jumping all over the place. I'm sure people are probably like, wow, like he's jumping a lot, and it's true. But to me, these movies are one. I don't like. They might as well be conjoined. They might as well be a double pack. I don't see much difference. And people always ask, which one do I like better? To be honest, I kind of lean towards part 3. Again, if I had a gun in my head, I would probably say part 3, which again, probably a lot of people would be like, wow. But they're just so campy. It doesn't apologize for its own campiness, and that's what I like about it. It embraces its campiness, and it's being self-aware before self-aware was being a thing, like that was a good thing to do. And I mean, it also pays homage to all those 80s slashers that were maybe, you know, as films, technically better than these movies. But I just love the whole concept of them. I think what Michael Simpson's really able to do is create the classic stereotypical characters, and he can make fun of them, point fun at them throughout the whole movie, and have Angela pick them off one by one. And I just love Pamela Springsteen in these movies. I love the setting of these movies too. I mean, that's another huge thing. The camp in this one, I believe Camp Rolling Hills is this one, and I think this one is Camp New Horizons. And like, basically, I'll give a quick plot summary on these because it's hard to kind of talk about why I love them more than I already have. And this one's basically like they reopen the camp, and she's back, and now she's a woman again, and she's gone through a sex change after the original. Actually, you know what? Scratch this. Let me talk about the original Sleepaway Camp and why I like these two movies way more than that movie. I'll be honest with you guys. I am not a big fan of the original Sleepaway Camp. And when I say I'm not a big fan, I really don't like the movie much at all. Other than the ending and maybe the song in it, I don't like the original Sleepaway Camp at all because it really, I just don't see it as anything more than a Friday the 13th ripoff. It doesn't bring anything else to the table. It really feels like the director, and I met the director who's a real fucking asshole, and to be honest, Robert Hiltzik, you're an asshole, and I didn't like you when I met you. He just seemed very smug and like, I don't know, he just wasn't a nice guy. Like I was like, oh, hi, nice to meet you, and he was like, I don't know, just was one of the worst celebrity, if you can even call his ass a celebrity, experiences I've ever had with any horror director or director in general. But it doesn't hit home with me. A lot of people love the baseball scenes, and a lot of people love the, some of the shitty over-the-top acting and over-the-top dialogue and some of the kills in it. I don't know, that movie never really, I didn't like that movie that much. But these movies, I feel like I get it more, that there's so much more there. As if the first Sleepaway Camp had a dimension, I think it would be flat. I think it's so one-dimensional. And, people can argue, disagree, oh, the Beehive kill is cool, which it is, but I feel like it's so one-dimensional compared to Sleepaway Camp 2 and Sleepaway Camp 3. I mean, these movies offer everything. They have cool, cheesy dialogue. They have cool, stereotypical characters. They have, like, awesome death scenes. They have, like, the killer's motivation's the best thing, I think, because it's all moral. It's all about, you know, if you don't curse and you're nice and you do your thing, she will leave you alone if you don't break her rules. Angela was the first real slasher character to have rules. It was never stated anywhere in the Friday the 13th movies that Jason was against people that had sex. Jason just killed motherfuckers. You know, and a lot of people say, "Oh, well, that's their statement." They made no statement about that. I think Michael Simpson really made the statement about that. You know, this girl in part 2, she's kind of a whore. She's really slutty. And, you know, Angela says to her, "What's down there?" As she's drowning her in an outhouse of shit. She's like, "Shit, it's your favorite word." She's like, "You're a piece of shit." And you're just sitting there, you're just like, wow, like this is something. And in part 3 you have just, again, like, more over-the-top characters. You got a black guy with a boom box. You got a fucking Spanish kid that used to be part of a gang. You have, you know, Melanie Griffith. She's like the everyday good girl, but she also has a little bit of an arc to her. She's the good girl that maybe doesn't do drugs, maybe doesn't drink, but she likes to party, she likes to have fun. And he was able to add some arc to the stereotypical characters that usually had no arc. And that's why I think Michael Simpson did a really, really good job directing these movies. And I don't know, I just always go to them. I always laugh with them. I always have a good time with them. While simple, while not, you know, addressing many, like if you watch compare my number 7 pick to my number 9 pick. Martin's a movie with so many serious themes, so many things in it that you can see, you know, that aren't just on the surface but are even below the surface. These movies really are just cheap fun. I almost see these movies as fast food, like, and it's the best kinds of fast food. I mean, whatever you like. I like me some White Castle, some 10 cheeseburgers, a sack fry, and a cherry Coke. That's what this is right here. When you watch something like Halloween, that's more of a steak dinner, a 5-course dinner, you know. It's a classic. I think they're both classics, but in a different kind of way when you compare it to more serious classic horror, and maybe almost everything else on my list, because these movies, while fast, are fun, and they do pack a punch, and they are great crowd movies. I've showed these movies to, oh my god, I don't know how many of my friends, and I was just like, you may not like horror, sit down and watch this, you'll have a good time. And you always do, you always laugh. There's so many just fun things about these movies, and I really think they're criminally underrated. You know, they are cheap, they are, you know, they are as what people take them as usually, but I just always saw kind of more with them. I always kind of enjoyed them more than, I guess, the average man. But that's Sleepaway Camp 2, Unhappy Campers, and Sleepaway Camp 3, Teenage Wasteland. I highly recommend you get these Blu-rays. They were fucking awesome to watch. Also, Part 3 has a VHS transfer on it, and it's like the movie uncut, and it's super, super fun to watch. I mean, it's really gritty, grimy, and disgusting, but, you know, what horror fan doesn't enjoy that? I know I do. But sorry if I rambled on a lot with these reviews. I didn't really review the movies. I just kind of told you why they are in the number 7 spot on my top 20 favorite horror film list of all time. And next time I will be back with number 6. We're almost to the top 5. Who's the bubble boy? Who's the outlier? Another pick on this list that I think a lot of people are going to be surprised with, and I really don't care because I like throwing curveballs at people, ladies and gentlemen. I like to hit them with the left when they think they're going to get the right. But for now, I am the Pajama Pants Player. I am John Grande. I am the best in the world wearing this Evil Dead / I Spit on Your Grave outfit, and I will see you all later, guys. Bye-bye. Peace.